My name is Denis Kitel. Now I live in Georgia, and this presentation is about my 3-year study of beautiful, interesting species barn owl. Just to tell a few words about this. Just a moment. Do you see slides changing? Yeah, good. Okay. Just to be sure that everything works well. Uh, like before I start to talk about my work personally, I do in Georgia. Maybe a few words about this beautiful owl, this bird. As you already read and heard in English, it's called barn owl. It's owl what settle in the barns, in sheds, in different kind of buildings. Uh, Oftenly, it might be like found in the churches or in abandoned buildings, in different kind of like dilapidated structures, depending on the places where you work or where this owl dwells. It can also occupy different kind of like cavities in the mountains or like digs in the river banks. Like it's quite plastic. It's widespread. It's one of the commonest owl worldwide. It lives close to the people. It's called synanthropic species, so we are like interacting really closely with this owl, and it's like now I want to tell you about like what we did, what we studied regarding this barn owl in Georgia, why it's really fascinating, and yeah, it's really interesting in terms of shifting the ranges of barn owl to Georgia. A little bit later, I will show you like the maps, how how it happened, like how this bird came to Georgia, because it happened really recently, only 25 years, as barn owl entered occupied Georgia, and now it became really a common species in the lowland areas. So like uh, knowing the experience in the other countries, this very nice biological weapon against the pests, against the rodents, which are often like harmful for the crops, for the they can like transfer some diseases, and owls really best hunters, best solution. Like you don't have to use any pesticides, any rodenticides, anything like to kill biodiversity around your houses or on your fields. So barn owls do it really perfectly. Uh, some other names in different countries. This owl, of course, have has its own name, and in Georgian language, it's called bukhrinca, what means snoring owl or owl making the sounds like and I know also in some other languages, like it's translated as church ghost or like owl dwelling in some buildings, something like that. And yeah, I'm happy to announce actually just few days ago, our publication reference was published in Sungrow's journal. This journal is known among the people living in the Middle East and in the Caucasus countries, and there you can find our newly published data about actually everything what I'm going to tell you during this presentation. But of course, it's written much nicer than my language is, and like more data provided in this article. So like if you are interested like to know more, so you can just visit ResearchGate, like we recently uploaded it, and you can find this publication. But shortly, I will tell you my own story, why I was so happy to work with this beautiful owl, and why actually this interest was born. Not long time ago, actually, it's like a little bit more than 6 years ago, I was invited to Poland by my colleagues, friends. Like we work it in different countries, but always with the owls, with the different kind of owls. I never worked it before Georgia with the barn owl, let's say, like in the really intensive, like scientific way. Like it was always like really sporadic observations, or not systematic like bird watching or occasional observations. And in 2019, I visited Poland, and we went to the churches where barn owls often live. If church has no like closed windows, barn owls easily enter the attic floors or some abandoned parts of the under roof places, and they make nests there. But priests usually not so happy of this kind of neighbor, and they like it's animal, it's owl, and of course it makes a lot of dirt, and uh, some of people of course can just close their eyes, but like the solution was just to put a nest box behind one of the window, with the only small hole open like to the uh, like to the streets, to the fields, from where Barnaul can find this hole and enter the box. So actually, there's no access to the church, but owls still can breed in the churches, and like benefits of this kind of buildings. Um, I'll not like really go deep why they choose churches or different kind of buildings like in Poland, because actually uh, this I tell only to show how it was, how it started. And when we checked the boxes, we found these beauties, these fluffy cheeks. Uh, the face, you see, it's like heart-shaped, beautiful eyes. So like you cannot not to fall in love with these creatures, and so this happened to me, and I really wanted one day like to dedicate my time like for studying this species, for studying barn owls. And that time I lived in Belarus, but barn owl in Belarus is like really rare species. Nowadays we estimate population less than 5 pairs, just five, and like it's not easy access to those 5 pairs, and they don't breed every year. So actually, like I needed a new place for my ideas, and a little bit more than 3 years ago, I went to Georgia, and I live now in Georgia. You don't have to be mistaken. It's not state in the USA, just the same pronunciation, Georgia, but it's independent countries on the Caucasus. It has Caucasus mountain range, and it's very beautiful. It has connection to the Black Sea, uh, and bordering with the Turkey, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Russia. but to say about the nature is so diverse because mountains are really high, like 5,000, 6,000 meter high, and um, these altitudinal plateaus are so interesting. Probably in some days, in some weeks, if everything goes well, Nika Paposhvili will tell you about one of really also pearl of Georgia is velvet scooters who living on the altitudinal lakes. Uh, but what else should I tell? Yeah, Georgia is not only mountains, not only like nice plateaus. It's really beautiful forests, semi-deserts, steppes. So really huge amount of like different kind of untouched nature. But of course, people need the places to live. So there are some settlements, and everyone needs food to eat. So actually, there areas covered with agricultural land. And here we can find interaction with the barn owls because barn owls need absolutely the same habitats. They like grassy meadows, they like fields with the crops plowed every year, what actually make their life really easier in terms like to catch the prey. So when the land is plowed, rodents have to escape, and of course not only barn owls, but just this presentation concern only this species. Okay, and uh, before I started my scientific research, everything started in Georgia with the just regular bird watching. My friend told me there is a church in the Kakheti lowland where barn owls breed on the ground of the church, of abandoned church. And we went there and we found this situation. Chicks are sitting really like on the ground level of the church. Like this church does not have windows, does not have doors. So actually, it was really easy prey for the jackals or for stray dogs or for foxes, for any kind of animals. And in the other church, we found absolutely the same situation, but already something happened. So, the chicks or the nest were predated by someone. So, I had some experience in my country about building nest boxes for the owls. And my first idea was just to make these two places safer for owls. And with the help of my friends, colleagues, uh, we organized like small fundraising company. And actually, one of my friends, he's from Germany, and he just told me like, Denis, like I will give you money for the materials for the boxes. So if you have really this interest, you can make and help the owls. And this is also how this campaign has started. So we made some boxes. We put near those churches on the trees, by the way, and in one case, owls actually they moved to the box. So 50% of success. Another pair, like when you work with the birds, you see that different birds behave differently. So the other pair refused our gift, and still they try to breed on the ground of the church, and second year is unsuccessful. Um, so we try our best, but maybe you should also understand that not all efforts are paid like by the nature. So sometimes we have to be really creative. And now I'm thinking about like how can we actually change this situation? Yeah. And And then there was a second idea. So, as I already mentioned, Barnaul is very nice uh, pest controller on the agricultural lands. And we have a friend, it's Nika. He's ornithologist, by the way, and he has a vineyard. His family keeps this vineyard for many years. And we decided just to put some boxes around his fields just to attract owls. And so this idea actually was spread a bit around Georgia. And we actually, I think in the future, it's going to be like the main idea is to attract barn owls to help people to be the uh, silent hunter. So when you sleep, they work. Um, and uh, and after that, we put many boxes like in different kind of habitats. I that time I didn't really have the feeling like what should I do like exactly. But I read many literature like from Europe, from Asian countries, like from probably any countries where any kind of efforts have been already made. So I found the scheme for the nest box from Barnaul Trust website on UK, and we decided, okay, so we will do the boxes modified in this country. But actually, if you search on the internet, you can find like many different kinds of like horizontal one. The dimensions will be sometimes even like twice different, like bigger or less. Uh, so at the end, you anyway have to like how to say, like had to like finish this search, and so this is what we did, and we decided like to make the boxes you see on the pictures. And as I also mentioned, we have chosen different churches. Some boxes we hang on trees, and we also use some sheds and barns. Uh, we had different success. And here you can see the map of distribution of the nest boxes. Uh, I didn't have time like to update it. So now we have a little bit more than 50 boxes. So 10 more since I draw this map. We also have a population in Western Georgia, and actually those 10 boxes are erected on trees or placed in the buildings in Western Georgia. Mhm. Here on the picture, you can see like different kind of actually buildings. Maybe sometimes they look not really nice for us, but barn owls have different view on this kind of buildings. If they have some place to hide for roosting at daytime, they have to be invisible for other birds or for some other raptors. Like at day they sleep, and uh, and when we search for the places for the boxes, or we just search for the places where potentially barnouts could live, so we had to think probably the same way as barn now. So if it's like really nice place, people don't use it oftenly. There's some like shelter, for instance, in the churches, there's a bell towers, and they are really rarely visited even by the priest, by the monks, by the some staff of the churches. And there are also many different kind of like buildings not in the use anymore, like from Soviet Union epoch, or some reconstructed castles. So they are used for the tourists, but usually the upper floors, like upper under the roof areas, are not used. So actually, they are good for barn holes. And And this picture was taken in the old Soviet Union time aerodrome used for the planes, for the fighter planes. And here on the picture on the right side, you can see this huge hangar where these planes could be like hidden from the satellites or something like of enemy. This time was crazy, of course, like in Soviet Union. But nowadays, it's like completely abandoned aerodrome, and those huge storages are used by the local farmers as a grain storages for their crops. And of course, those grains attract like huge amount of different rodents. And after Barnauls occupied this area, so they started breeding. Of course, they catch a lot of them, and this actually one of the tasks I work right now. Uh, because they only few years how came like to this place. So Georgia never faced Barnaus in this place before, like thousands of years, and now we have these owls, and now they can like work on the people. And here is Georgia. So some now I turn to the scientific part of what I did, what I'm doing, and hopefully will do the next years. This map is free access from Wikipedia. It's not scientific source, but anyway, just some impression, and you can see the Georgia in the center of this red circle. It's Caucasus region, and you can see that actually the range of barn owl is not even like mentioned in Wikipedia in the country now I'm talking about. And by new classification systematics, barn owl scientific Latin name is Tito alba. Uh, Now it lives only, it was splitted. It's kind of like difficult scientific stuff about DNA and genetics. So now Barnau split to different species, and for instance, in Americas, it lives furcata. In Asia and Australia, there are some other species, and on some islands, there's some also endemic species of barn owls. And the species we're talking about is like inhabiting Europe and Africa. And uh, there are some. So when I started my search, I of course had to dig in the literature, and I found not much. And the problem was that many publications are in really less known periodicals, proceedings, and in the languages like also not oftenly used, like Russian language, or I found like publication in Georgian language. So I needed the team, of course, like to work. Like some of people send me articles from Azerbaijan, from Armenia, Georgian people also help it like to translate some internet site. So and that time like but anyway, it's very nice to have at least some published data when this expansion started. And uh, this map is from the article I showed you on one of the first slides about our own work on expansion of Barno. So here we have like 166 records of Barnos uh, in Georgia, and all these records are from 2000, the year 2000. So 25 years, Barnaul lives in Georgia. And now you can see how fast and really how they spread. along the lowlands, and lowland actually is main agriculture areas in Georgia. Um, Regarding the height, this owl doesn't go like really high to the mountains. So it prefers flat area or a bit hilly, but not really like stones um or like rocks. Um and so, as you see on this map in Georgia, there are like two or three lowland areas, like in the west and in the east, and they're completely different. If on the west we have a subtropical climate, like really humid, a lot of rains, like quite often like cloudy, and on the eastern part is steppe areas, semi-arid territories, or like uh, like temperate climates. So they're different, but Barnaul's doesn't mind like to live either on the west or east. It's good question. Hopefully, the future research whether but whether these two populations came to Georgia like from one origin or like from different ones. Uh, I will not like really also go deep to the like history how this expansion went through other countries, but there is some assumption that the population from the east could come like from Iran and Azerbaijan, and the western one through Ukraine and Russia. Uh, but no evidence yet. So it's needed more sources, time, samples, etc. Uh, okay, and just also a few words about what maybe like even more photos, like because it's always nice to see the owls. And here on the picture, what I wanted to show, barn owls is the species which have a few color, it's called morphs or subspecies. Uh, it's not always clear like to distinguish whether it belongs like to there's subspecies it's called alba, or which is like white bellied, white underwings, or it's subspecies gutata as on the photo, like rusty bellied, rusty breasted, dark barn nose. And there's also a third one, which potentially might occur in Georgia. It's called Erlangeri, and it dwells in Iran and Turkey. So actually, we are close to those population, and we don't have answer which ones came to Georgia, because in Georgia you can see any kind of this color morphs of the birds. Even in the same brood, we had completely white birds and completely dark individuals. It's also a question for now without the answer, and probably the answer is the same: DNA analysis, like deep analysis. And some natural sites I also want to show you, because when you work with the boxes, boxes actually is nice when when burnouts don't have places to breed, or you try to solve the issue with the humans. When owls live under the roof, many people are not satisfied of this, and they sometimes even kill owls. They threw away the chicks. But here on the picture is like really ideal place for the owls. It's old church, and maybe just for a little bit laugh, I will show you the process of the work. Uh, so chicks live in this hall, and to check you have to be quite slim and brave. Uh, yeah, but you have to be very and very careful. because this year I broke my leg while checked one of the boxes. So please, if you decide to work with the nature, take care and think twice or even three times before you climb somewhere like really high. Uh, with the boxes, like you cannot like sit with the binoculars like days and nights. So we use some trail cameras to understand whether boxes in certain areas are interested for the owls, and we collected quite nice data. Not even only about barn owls, but also about the other species living nearby, because boxes are very good for barn owls, but actually many hollow nesting birds would benefit. And we have several cases when other species occupied, not barn owl. So I'm also happy. Like if they work, if the boxes work, it's better than they remain empty for years. And also maybe I will show you one of our favorite box this year. Um, we have trail camera and we try to record like whole season, and you can see that actually in this situation feral pigeons came and even showing some behavior of uh, how it's called uh, like pre-breeding or something. So one partner invite another one, so nice box, or we can make nest, but it's already occupied and owl is not happy. So the female defending its offsprings. Of course, feral pigeons are not really predating owls, but there are some concurrences. So you see how it works in the nature. Uh, okay, I'm close to the end. Actually, I'm a little bit out of the time, running out of the time. Another scientific approach we made for barn owls. Uh, so now we know where they live and how, and we described how this expansion started and going on in Georgia. But we also wanted to know the real impact of the owls on the local mammals, and especially we wanted to see how useful this owl might be in terms of uh, like fighting with the rodents, like how people can use these owls. So we collected pellets, we desiccated pellets, we identified the prey, we like made many measurements. So here on the graph, for instance, you can see that in the pellets, usually you find like three preys per pellet, but some of them, the maximum we had contained 11 and 13 preys. Of course, the smaller prey, more individuals might be contained in the pellets. So everything depends on the size. And we collected the data about 6,600 preys uh, during these 3 years. And if you look at this graph, you see that by number, actually, the proportion between the rodents and other groups, and other main group is shrews. Shrew is small animal. It doesn't belong to the rodent family. It's insectivores. They eat worms, grasshopper, like different kind of invertebrates, and they are like one of the commonest mammals in Georgia. They're very small, and actually barn owls catch them easily. And so you see, proportion by the number is almost equal, like between the rodents a little bit uh, prevail than shrews. But if we convert the data into the biomass using some mean biomass coefficients, so we see that actually rodents are like three-fourths of the total diet of the barn owls. And of course, barn owls eat not only rodents and shrews, but they can catch sometimes birds, bats, different kind of insects. We found a few frogs, even a lizard, but as you see on the graph, like proportion is really like we don't really pay attention on the other ones. So we see that this species in Georgia uh, might really benefit the farmers, for instance, like those ones who have problems with the fields, with the rodents. And very soon we are going to publish this data as well. Mm, Hopefully next week it will be published in the journal called Caucasiana. It's local journal, but in English language, so you can get access like if you're interested in this like very soon. Um, okay, so I came to the end of my presentation. Uh, if you have any questions, I will be more than happy to answer.
Donc, Denis, il travaille en Géorgie sur les frais des clochers, qui est donc un rapace nocturne. Et, euh, Et donc, dans sa présentation, il a commencé un peu par introduire son intérêt personnel pour l'espèce, qui s'est développé non pas en Géorgie, mais en Pologne, où il avait rejoint des collègues pour pouvoir observer les jeunes effraies des clochers qui nichaient dans des clochers d'église, où justement les personnes avaient installé des nids artificiels dans les églises pour que l'espèce puisse nicher. Et donc ensuite, il a déménagé en Géorgie et il a voulu un peu reprendre cette idée en construisant donc des nichoirs artificiels qu'il a placés dans différents endroits en Géorgie, principalement à l'est et à l'ouest. Donc il a placé environ une cinquantaine de nichoirs artificiels. Alors ce qui est intéressant, c'est que donc l'espèce, donc les fraises des clochers est globalement assez bien répandue, notamment en Europe, en Afrique, sud de l'Asie et en Amérique. Mais ce n'est que finalement assez récemment que l'espèce a commencé à coloniser les régions caucasiennes de l'Europe centrale. Donc, on estime que son expansion dans ces régions a débuté au niveau de la fin du XXe siècle et début du XXIe siècle. Et donc, l'habitat préféré de l'espèce, c'est plutôt les plaines de basse altitude, notamment les plaines agricoles. Et donc, Denis, c'est là où il va travailler, donc à essayer déjà de rechercher un petit peu la présence de cette espèce dans ces plaines agricoles et ce qui est intéressant, c'est qu'au début de son travail, donc il avait notamment trouvé deux nids dans des bâtiments abandonnés. Je crois que c'était des églises abandonnées, mais en fait, l'espèce nichait au sol, ce qui rendait les oisillons très vulnérables face aux prédateurs, d'où son idée de proposer des nichoirs artificiels. Et donc, il a aussi, avec ses collègues, donc il va régulièrement voir l'activité dans ces nichoirs-là. Il a aussi placé des pièges photos pour filmer l'activité. Il s'est rendu compte qu'il n'y avait pas seulement de l'effraie des clochers, mais il y avait d'autres espèces qui pouvaient aussi utiliser ces nichoirs artificiels. Et ils sont en train aussi de travailler sur le régime alimentaire de l'espèce donc en étudiant un petit peu les restes de proies, et ils se sont rendus compte que euh, les proies principales de cette espèce, ce sont donc différentes espèces de rongeurs et des musaraignes. Et donc ça, c'est intéressant puisque ça renforce finalement l'intérêt de cette espèce dans les plaines agricoles, puisque c'est vraiment un allié pour les fermiers, puisque donc les effraies des clochers vont contrôler la population de rongeurs, ce qui va protéger donc les récoltes, notamment les récoltes céréalières. Voilà, merci.